this example, you first have to do this. Okay, and then you can multiply that negative. Don't multiply it in, but you can write it like this. But what you should do is factor out the 2 from these two.
It's not.
So if you were to write this in terms of the function, you get to write like this: 3f at minus 2x plus 2 minus 2. Okay, let me use another tool that I didn't use earlier. So what that actually means is that all your points that you know that are on here will change like this. Minus 2, actually, it'll first get multiplied by negative half, and then you subtract 2. Okay, that's what happens to the x. Everything is opposite. So you see it's multiplied by negative 2. So you divide by negative 2 first, and then you subtract 2. Okay, actually, even the order is backwards. Look at this. Even the order is different. Here, what's being done to x first? Plus 2, right? And then you multiply by negative 2, right? So you gotta do it backwards. You gotta undo the, so it's an inverse. You gotta undo the negative multiplication of negative 2 first, which is times it by negative half, and then you subtract 2. And the y changes like this: 3y minus 2. This is nice to have because we can easily convert these values into the new location.
Why is it 3y?
Isn't it just minus y minus 2?
This is the y, right?
Yeah.
So minus 3y minus 2. You're right. So I'm actually, I shouldn't have that 3 there.
I was talking about that.
Okay, so it's negative y negative 2. Sorry.
Oh.
Okay, then we have these points. This is the most important one. Okay, so let's transform the points. Negative 1 will get multiplied by negative half minus 2. So that's 1 minus 2, so that's minus 3 over 2. This is negative 2 and a third, so negative 2 and 1/3. This will become negative 2 and negative 3. That's a really important point. And this will become negative 2.5. Negative 5. Okay, so like I said, this is the most important point. Okay, so the origin, actually, it's actually good to move the origin, even though it's not part of the graph. It'll move to negative 2, right? So negative 1, 2, negative 1, 2. So I'm just going to draw a dotted line as a reference. The horizontal is an asymptote. Okay, see this point here, negative 2, negative 3, negative 2, negative 3. We're here. When you go to negative 1, it gets smaller, right? It becomes, it's negative 1.5 here actually, right? So it's not even negative 1, it's a negative 1.5. Right here, it's 2 and 1/3. It's right here. This is negative 2. So 1/3 will be about there. It's closer. Do you see what happened? Normally it would be at negative 1, but it got compressed in. Horizontally. Horizontal compression.
So it gets better, right?
So it gets skinnier.
Yeah.
Normally we'll have to go down to 3, but we don't. We stop at negative 2.5 and we go down to all the way to negative 5. Negative 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here. Okay, so look, these 3 points. It's very narrow. Okay, that's what the graph looks like. Okay, so this point here is this one. Right? Negative 2, 3 is this one. And this one here is this one. It's compressed in. It's really squished in towards the center.